In the weeks following the reading of the will, Yemi became more hostile. He openly resented Uche, accusing her of manipulating his brother and scheming to steal his inheritance. The staff in the mansion, once loyal to Chief Femi, began to turn against her, swayed by Yemi's lies and manipulations. Yemi began to make life unbearable for Uche. He did not care if she was pregnant for his late brother. She was so sad and helpless. He would barge into her room unannounced, demand to see financial documents, and question her every decision. He would belittle her in front of the staff, spreading rumors about her, saying she was a gold digger who had seduced his brother for money. He insisted that she should be his second wife, which she refused. One night, Yemi stormed into the mansion, drunk and furious. He demanded that Uche hand over the keys to the mansion, screaming that it was rightfully his. When Uche refused, he slapped her in the presence of her little son. He grabbed her by the arm and dragged her and her son out of the house, throwing both crying into the cold, rainy night. "You're nothing without him," Yemi shouted. "You don't belong here. This is my house, my legacy. You're just a parasite. Go away with your fatherless born and unborn children." He was screaming, "You are a commoner, a gold digger." Uche and her son Tolu were drenched and shivering, stumbled to her feet, tears streaming down her face. She had no one to turn to, nowhere to go. She could hear the servants whispering, some even laughing, as she walked away from the mansion, the only home she had known since her marriage. 4 days, pregnant Uche and her son wandered the streets, lost and broken. She had been cast out of her home with nothing but the clothes on her back. She could not go back to her parents because she was ashamed. One day, John, who was looking for her and her son, found her in front of a supermarket where she was begging for food. He quickly took her to a nearby small church to hide there for safety, where the kind-hearted reverend and his wife took her in. They didn't ask questions, only offered her food, warmth, and a place to sleep. Uche spent her days in silence, her mind numb from the shock and betrayal. She couldn't believe that the life she had known had been torn away from her so violently. She felt abandoned, not just by her husband, but by the world. Looking at her innocent son made her cry daily. With another pregnancy she felt alone. But as the days turned into weeks, Uche began to find strength in her solitude. The Reverend's wife, Mama Chi, was a wise and compassionate woman. She would sit with Uche for hours, talking about life, faith, and resilience. "You are stronger than you think, my dear," Mama Chi would say. "The Lord doesn't give us more than we can bear. You've been through a lot, but you have a future ahead of you. Don't let anger and bitterness consume you." Slowly, Uche began to heal. She started helping out at the church, cooking meals for the poor, and assisting with the children's classes. The people at the church didn't know who she was or where she came from, but they welcomed her with open arms. For the first time in months, Uche felt a sense of belonging. One day, as Uche was cleaning the small room the Reverend had given her, she noticed something unusual. Tucked away in the corner of the room was an old, dusty trunk. It looked like it hadn't been opened in years. Curiosity awakened. Uche opened the trunk and found it filled with old documents, letters, and journals. As she read through the papers, something caught her eye. It was a small, leather-bound journal with Chief Femi's name written on the cover. Her heart raced as she opened it, realizing that it was her late husband's journal. The entries were dated just a few months before his death. In them, Chief Femi wrote about his illness, his fears, and his plans for the future. But what shocked Uche the most was a series of entries detailing a secret plan. This is something Chief Femi had been working on in the final days of his life. Chief Femi had discovered that Yemi was embezzling money from the company, siphoning off funds, and hiding them in offshore accounts. The entries revealed that Chief Femi had confronted Yemi, but instead of turning him in, he had decided to set a trap. In the final entry, dated just days before his death, Chief Femi wrote, "I know my time is short. Yemi thinks he can outsmart me, but he doesn't realize how much I've prepared for this. Uche must never know what I've done, but I trust she will be strong. I've set things in motion that will ensure that my wife Uche and our children are taken care of, and that Yemi will get what he deserves. If I die before I can see it through, I can only hope that my last move will protect the woman I've come to love, and ensure that justice is served." Uche's hands trembled as she read the words. She realized that Chief Femi had been playing a long game, one that Yemi was completely unaware of. The will had been just the first part of his plan. There was more that would turn the tables on Yemi and reveal the truth. Armed with the knowledge from Chief Femi's journal, Uche knew she had to act. She couldn't let Yemi get away with what he had done, not just to her, but to her late husband. But she also knew that she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, someone she could trust. Uche approached Mama Chi and the Reverend, showing them the journal and explaining everything. They were shocked by the revelations, but they believed in Uche and were determined to help her. The Reverend contacted a lawyer he knew, a man of integrity who had a reputation for fighting against corruption. The lawyer, Barrister Olu, was intrigued by Uche's story and agreed to take on her case. He began to dig into Chief Femi's finances and business dealings, following the trail that had been left behind. What he uncovered was a web of deceit, embezzlement, and fraud, all leading back to Yemi. Meanwhile, Uche returned to the mansion. The staff was stunned to see her, but she walked in with her head held high, no longer the broken woman who had been thrown out. Yemi, who was in the living room, was visibly shocked and furious when he saw her. "What are you doing here?" Yemi spat, his eyes narrowing. "This is my home," Uche replied calmly. "And I'm here to reclaim what's mine." Yemi sneered. "You think you can just walk back in here after everything? You're nothing without my brother." Uche didn't pull back. "We'll see about that." Before Yemi could react, Barrister Olu and a team of police officers entered the room. Yemi's face paled as they handed him a warrant for his arrest. The lawyer explained that Tund was being charged with embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy to commit theft. As the police led a stunned and defeated Yemi out of the mansion, Uche felt a sense of closure. Chief Femi had ensured that justice would be served, even from beyond the grave. In the months that followed, Uche gave birth to another handsome boy. She named Femi Jr. after her late husband, and also took control of the estate and the businesses that Chief Femi had left behind. With Barrister Olu's help, she reorganized the company, rooting out the corruption that Imai had sown, restoring its reputation. The staff who had turned against her were dismissed, and she brought in new, trustworthy people to help her manage the business. But Uche didn't stop there. She used her newfound wealth and influence to give back to the community. She established a foundation in Chief Femi's name, focusing on education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation in the town where she lived and beyond. She wanted to ensure that her husband's legacy would be one of positive change, not of greed and exploitation. As for Yemi, he was sentenced to a long prison term. his schemes exposed for all to see. The town, once full of whispers and rumors, now spoke of Uche with respect and admiration. She had shown remarkable strength and resilience, rising above the challenges and injustice she had faced. But Uche's greatest achievement was not in the wealth she inherited or the power she gained. It was in the quiet dignity with which she carried herself, the compassion she showed to others, and the wisdom she gained from her trials. Uche had been through the fire, but she had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined to make a difference in the world. She had found her place, not just as Chief Femi's widow, but as a woman of strength, courage, and grace. Their son Tolu has grown up to be a lawyer taking care of his father's legacy. Before the death of Chief Femi, he instructed his most loyal domestic staff John to take all his important documents to safe place, and to ensure that, whatever happens, his wife Uche should never leave his sight, ensuring that Uche and their children arrive safely to the secret place where all the documents were kept. John, the most loyal domestic staff of so many years, did exactly as he was told by Chief Femi before he passed on. Among all the documents, Uche found a letter stating all the plans by Chief Femi. She began to cry. Uche thought she was alone in this painful journey, never knew her late husband had prepared everything for her and their children. She searched for John after all that had happened and thanked him for his loyalty. His loyalty saved the legacy of Chief Femi. And so, the silent widow Uche became a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a place where justice, though sometimes delayed, could be found.
Hi, thank you for watching. Please write in the comment section below what moral lessons you learned from this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and put on the notification bell button. Please stay tuned for more.